While Trump was threatening South Korea with 25% tariffs, Canada signed a memorandum of understanding with Seoul to bring Korean auto manufacturing north of the border. The timing was not coincidental. Trump's tariff weaponization is now actively reshaping the global industrial map, and American allies are building trade relationships specifically designed to bypass the United States. This is not diplomatic posturing. This is industrial restructuring with trillion-dollar consequences. I'm Elle of House of Elle on YouTube. I have a PhD in computer science and I work in finance where spotting geopolitical patterns is part of the job. Here's what happened. Canadian Industry Minister with great hair, Minister Melanie Joly, and South Korean Minister Kim Jong-kwon signed an MOU focused on bringing South Korean automotive and battery manufacturing to Canada. The agreement covers electric vehicle production, battery supply chains, critical mineral extraction, and hydrogen vehicle development, the works. The South Korean delegation included Hyundai Motor Group's executive chair and government officials negotiating a $41.4 billion submarine contract with Canada. This is a huge deal. 2 days before this signing, Trump announced tariff increases on South Korean imports from 15% to 25%. We have a separate video on this, specifically targeting automobiles, lumber, and pharmaceuticals. His stated reason was that South Korea's legislature hadn't ratified a trade framework from last summer that included a $350 billion investment commitment to the United States. The financial pattern here is very straightforward. South Korea is watching its largest export market become increasingly unstable and punitive. South Korean automakers hold approximately 12% of the Canadian market, but operate 0 manufacturing facilities there. Canada desperately needs automotive investment as its traditional cross-border integration with American production fractures under tariff pressures. Both countries need hedges against American unpredictability. The market reaction tells you everything about investor confidence in American policy stability. When Trump announced the tariff increase, Hyundai Motor shares initially fell 4.77%, Kia dropped as much as 6%, and Hyundai Mobis declined 5%. That's billions in market capitalizations evaporating because American trade policy has become fundamentally unpredictable. To understand the financial mechanisms driving this realignment, you need to see how Canada is restructuring its entire automotive policy. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that foreign automakers who build vehicles in Canada will receive preferential market access. This mirrors the strategy Canada used in the 1980s to attract Japanese manufacturers. According to Canada's officials, 70% of current Canadian auto assembly is now Japanese because of that earlier policy. The Korean calculation is very clear. Build facilities in Canada, gain tariff-protected access to the Canadian market, and create a North American manufacturing base that is insulated from direct American tariff volatility. The submarine contract provides additional leverage here. South Korea's Hanwha Consortium is competing with Germany's ThyssenKrupp for what could be a $100 billion contract over 30 to 40 years when you include maintenance and operations as well. And when you work in finance, you really learn to interpret investment linkage strategies as well. The Koreans are not just bidding on submarines. They're using defense contracts to anchor broader industrial relationships. Hanwha already signed an MOU with Algoma Steel, pledging $275 million for a new steel mill. That's vertical integration preparation for automotive production. By the way, if you want to sharpen your ability to recognize these patterns in real time, I wrote a book called Awake specifically about improving critical thinking in an era where official narratives obscure financial realities. It's available in ebook and audiobook format, and subscribers get 10% off. You can get the first chapter for free through the links in the description. Anyway, the timing matters here because this is not happening in isolation. Carney announced that Canada has signed 12 new economic and security agreements in just the past 6 months. He is actively courting trade expansion with India, ASEAN countries, and South America. Most specifically, Canada just reduced tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles from 100% to 6.1%, that's insane, for 49,000 vehicles annually, in exchange for China cutting duties on Canadian canola, lobster, and other agricultural exports worth over $7 billion. Trump's response was a little bit predictable. He threatened 100% tariffs on Canadian goods if Ottawa makes deals with China. But here's the financial reality that really matters. Canada is calling that bluff by accelerating diversification anyway. The Korean deal, the Chinese deal, the expanded trade negotiations, these are systematic preparations for reduced American market dependency. The consequences for American industrial power here are structural, not just temporary. The United States has spent decades building integrated supply chains with allies specifically designed around American market access. Those supply chains assumed American tariff policy would remain relatively stable and predictable. I think that assumption is now dead. According to public trade data, the U.S. imported $131.6 billion in goods from South Korea in 2024. When Trump threatens that relationship with arbitrary tariff increases, he is not just affecting quarterly earnings, he is forcing Korean companies to diversify their geographic production footprint away from American-centered strategies. The pattern extends beyond Korea too. Trump recently threatened 8 European nations with tariffs over Greenland. We have many videos on this saga as well, and then partially walked it back after the Davos meetings. He threatened Canada with tariffs over the China deal as well. He's raised and threatened tariffs on Mexico repeatedly. Each threat forces allies to build redundancy into their industrial planning that specifically routes around American market access. Here's the mechanism that American policymakers are missing in my personal view. Every tariff threat creates immediate compliance cost even before tariffs are actually imposed. Companies have to scenario plan for multiple tariff regimes. They have to build supply chain flexibility. They have to establish alternative production locations. All of that costs money and reduces the efficiency advantages of American-centered supply chains. Canadian auto assembly produced 1.21 million light-duty vehicles in 2025. South Korea produced 4.1 million vehicles the same year. If even a fraction of Korean production capacity relocates to Canada to hedge against American tariff volatility, that represents permanent industrial reallocation that won't reverse when Trump leaves office. The financial mechanism that matters here is capital investment duration. When Hyundai builds an automotive plant, that's a 20-30 year capital commitment. It's not just for today. Those facilities don't relocate based on 4-year political cycles. Once Korean automotive capacity is established in Canada with preferential market access, it creates a permanent competitive disadvantage for USA-based production trying to export into Canadian markets. The same logic applies to the submarine contract as well. If South Korea wins that $41.4 billion contract, it establishes decades of defense industrial integration between Seoul and Ottawa. That creates institutional relationships, supply chain dependencies, and workforce development that all reduce relative USA influence in Canadian defense procurement. Consider the historical parallel as well, just for a second. When Trump imposed steel and aluminum tariffs in his first term, American manufacturers faced higher input costs than their foreign competitors. Domestic metal-consuming industries lost more jobs than the protected steel industry gained. The current tariff strategy risks the same dynamic at a much larger scale here. Korean automakers establishing Canadian production will have tariff-protected access to the Canadian market while potentially benefiting from Canadian free trade agreements with other nations. And here's what American policymakers seem to misunderstand in my own personal humble view. Tariffs work as leverage only when trading partners have no viable alternatives. The entire purpose of Canada's trade diversification strategy is to build those alternatives systematically. Every new deal reduces American leverage. Every threatened tariff accelerates the diversification process. So what happens next? Let me walk you through 3 specific predictions based on the current trajectory, in my personal opinion. First, I would expect more Korean industrial announcements in Canada within the next 6 months. Hyundai will likely announce at least preliminary investment in Canadian battery or automotive component production. Time to support the submarine bid, perhaps. The Korean government is using the submarine contract as an anchor for broader economic integration, and automotive investment is the most politically viable sector for Canadian job creation. Second, I would watch for a USA tariff escalation against Canada to backfire. Trump's threat of 100% tariffs will accelerate rather than slow Canadian diversification. Carney explicitly said in Davos that middle powers need to rally together against great power unpredictability. I don't think that was diplomatic rhetoric. That was policy announcement, basically. Canada will frame further trade diversification as necessary defense against American economic coercion. Third, the Korea-Canada alignment will probably encourage similar partnerships among other USA allies seeking to hedge against tariff volatility. Japan, European nations, and other Asian economies are all watching whether Korean companies can successfully use Canadian relationships to bypass American market dependency. If it works, it becomes a template of a sort. The financial endgame is very straightforward here. American tariff threats are actively building the exact supply chain redundancy that reduces long-term American economic leverage. Trump thinks that he is negotiating from a position of strength, but he's actually teaching allies to systematically reduce their exposure to American market access as a strategic vulnerability. For more on how these tariff policies are actually backfiring in very unexpected ways, watch the video on screen right now about Japan beginning to sell their $5 trillion in US treasuries. The pattern is not isolated, it is systematic. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.